welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hi, my name is Nicole and I'm a part-time reseller on Poshmark, and today I'm going to talk about the items that I've purchased recently at the Dollar Day at my Goodwill. I'm going to talk about what I've sold them for the ones that I have sold already, and I think this is kind of helpful because it really shows you that you can get brands that aren't necessarily like those top tier brands that people talk about, and you can still make a profit on them. Some of these brands, I see people say that like it's not worth picking up and they're just not worth it, but I'm here to say that it doesn't really matter the brand most of the time. It really matters like what you pick up. And so these are great examples of things that you can pick up and easily make a flip on. And so I'm going to go through some of my recent purchases, and all of these items I paid $1 for, so I'm not going to recap that every single time, but just know that every single one of these items I paid $1 for each, and I'll show you how much I made on them, and I'll show you the size and everything so you can really see what brands are selling and also what sizes are selling in those brands as well. Let's start with the first piece, which is actually this divided by H&M sunflower dress. It's like a mini dress. I think it was a size medium, and it sold for $15. Now, I actually got this last weekend, so it already sold within a few days of me listing it. I actually shipped it out a couple days ago, so that's really awesome. And Divided by H&M is one of those brands that I don't really sell that much of, but I never really thought it would sell that high either, but the fact that I sold it for $15 means I, made more than $10 in profit on this item alone, and that's pretty awesome. The next item that I sold for a good profit was this acceleration top. It's a size extra, extra large. It's a black tank, and I sold that for $10. Now, acceleration is not one of those brands that I really always pick up. It's one of those brands that I never really thought was that good or anything like that, but it sold for $10. Now, that means I made like 10 times the amount that I sold it for, or the amount that I paid for it in selling it, and so that's pretty awesome. And it's one of those brands where like I don't normally think I could make a lot for it, but this one I was able to sell for a decent amount, so I'm pretty content with this sale. The next pair are these DexFlex Comfort like heels kind of thing, and they're a size 5.5, so they're a smaller size, and I think that was the downfall of picking them up, is I just think that they were a really small size, so they were going to sell for a little bit less than I would have thought. And I originally had them listed like closer to $30, but then I was like slowly realizing that they just weren't selling at that price point. And so I lowered them, and I was able to sell them at $15, which is still great. I still made plenty of profit on them. And now I know going forward that if I'm picking up smaller sizes, the profit that I'm going to make per those items is going to be smaller. Okay, the next item that I sold recently was this J.Crew pair of white denim, and they were a size 27, so they are on the smaller side, and that right there was making them really hard to sell. I think I actually picked these up a long time ago at Dollar Day, but they were actually able to sell for $25, and so that means I made 20 times what I purchased them for, which I think that's the whole point of this video, is just showing that I could really make a good profit on these items, and so can you. The next item is actually another pair of J.Crew pants. These are a size 28, so again on the smaller side. These are navy with like polka dots. I sold these for $20, which again was listed full price, and I was really surprised because again, I don't really sell a lot of J.Crew, but recently I've been selling J.Crew pants. I guess they're just really well made, and so that's pretty exciting that I've been selling them. And these were another pair that I had for a really long time, and I'm just happy that they're gone, and I'm happy that they sold for a really good amount. Now, this next one is a great example of picking up items that don't have a brand, still will actually allow them to sell. So this one was a purple wireless nursing bra, and it did not have a brand. It just had the size. It was size extra large. And I wasn't really sure if nursing bras were going to sell because I wasn't sure. That kind of seemed like an interesting market that I haven't really dove into, but this sold very, very fast. I actually remember sourcing it in, I think, February, and I sold it like within that same week, and it sold for $15, which is still great. I mean, I know nursing bras are really expensive, and so if somebody could get them in really good condition, this looked like it was like never worn, and I think a lot of people really do like the wireless as well, so this was a great flip, and I was really happy I ended up picking up. And just to like put this out there, that like you could pick up items that don't have brands and they will still sell. This next item that sold was these Life Stride boots. They were a size 8, they were fake leather, and they sold for $40. Now, these were one of the pairs that I kind of found where I was like, I don't know anything about this brand, but they look like they're really nice boots, and they're in great condition. So selling them for 40 was like a really great feeling because I was able to make a really large amount of profit on them, basically 40 times what I paid for them. And so it was really awesome that I was able to flip them for that much. And so it's really just important to remember that, like, you may not know the brand, but that doesn't really matter if they're good quality or if they're, you know, a brand that somebody else knows. Don't be afraid to pick up brands that you don't know just because you've never seen the brand before. You never know, might be one of your bigger flips. Okay, this next item was a J.Crew flannel. Now this one I kind of listed as unisex, like I felt like it could go either way. I think I ended up listing it as men's, which I think and in turn ended up hurting, you know, the sell-through rate, but I did end up selling it. I sold it for $17. It was a size large, and it was one of those items where I wasn't really sure when I picked it up, but I knew because, you know, people love flannels and it looked like it was in good shape. So I picked it up and I'm glad that it sold, but I was kind of surprised that it sold because I really wasn't sure how to label it. And I know typically I sell women's items faster than I sell men's items. So I knew I was putting myself at a disadvantage listing it as men's, but I feel like that's like the safer thing to do in that scenario just in case. And I think I sold it to someone that really wanted it. And, you know, I sold it for $17, so that's really not that bad. Okay, the next item was this beautiful Abercrombie & Fitch floral like dress, and it was a size 4 petite, and I knew that when I picked it up that it was going to be a harder item to sell because petite sizes don't sell that well for me. And so that's why I was only able to sell it for $15. Now, I'm still happy that I sold it, and I think I sold it a lot faster than I expected to sell it. And it was definitely a really cute dress. Like, if it was my size, I would have definitely kept it. But I think I've learned that picking up petite sizes you have to be a little bit more careful with, and so I'm a little bit more selective with what I pick up, but I know that this was in really good condition. It was a summer dress and people are looking for those right now, so I knew it was worth picking up, and it sold for $15 like I said, and I'm really content with that. Another pair of size 5.5 shoes. These were like heels. They're from the brand Ted Baker, which I knew that was a good brand, but I didn't really know too much about the brand ahead of time. But I knew just simply that it was a good brand, so I picked them up. Again, they were smaller size, so that really put me at a disadvantage, but I sold them for $20. Maybe I undersold them, but I'm just happy because, again, they were such a small size that I was worried that they were never going to sell. Okay, this next flip actually kind of surprised me because it's a brand that everyone always told me not to pick up. Everyone always said that that brand doesn't sell, but I decided to put this to the test at Dollar Day because I was like, well, there's no better time to pick up this brand than a time that I'm going to get it super cheap. So I picked up this LuLaRoe animal print cardigan, and it was like a button down, and it was a size large, and I knew because it was a larger size it would sell, and I just wasn't sure for, you know, how much. I was thinking I was gonna have to sell it for under 10, but I was able to sell it for 15, which is really great, and I was able to definitely make a profit on it. And again, it was like I have a 100% sell-through rate for LuLaRoe, and I made 15 times the profit on it. So for me, it's like, okay, I guess I should maybe pick up LuLaRoe in the future, but I have to be more selective, and I need to make sure that they're larger sizes, just because I feel like not a lot of people like LuLaRoe. I don't know. Let me know down below if you have any luck selling LuLaRoe. I'm really curious. I know a lot of people have always said that, like, that's one of those brands that you just don't want to pick up, and all the Goodwills and, you know, the thrift stores are full of LuLaRoe. So let me know if you have any luck selling it, and if you don't, I would also love to know that. The next pair of boots that I sold was actually this Madewell Chelsea boot. They were a leather pair of Chelsea boots, and they were in really good condition. And they were a size 9, and I sold them for $35. Now, I sold these within maybe a few hours of listing them. They sold so fast. I love that feeling. Like, that's so exciting when that happens. It really doesn't happen that often, but it's such a good feeling, and you know that maybe I should have priced this higher, or maybe, you know, I don't know, because if an item sells that quickly, I generally think I listed it too low. But at the same time, making 35 times the profit on an item is totally worth it. And I know I keep reiterating like how many times each profit on the item is, but I'm just trying to really like let you know that because when you pick up items for $1, you're not investing a lot, and you could really sell them for a lot. And a lot of people think like, I'm not going to pick up those mediocre brands, but like knowing that you sell them for a lot more really makes it worth it. And this is a clear example of why it's worth it. The next item I picked up was this Lululemon tank top. Now, this was an item that had a small spot on it, so I already had to kind of go down a size. It was a style that really wasn't that popular, but it was also a very unique style that like I thought would sell. It's a size 8. It's one of those like camis that has like the built-in bra, and it has like the racer back top, and I sold it for $20, which I think is pretty good given the fact that it had a flaw on it. I know a lot of people like swear by selling Lululemon, and they always say that it sells really high for them, but this is probably one of my higher selling Lululemon items, and the fact that it had a flaw just really surprises me. But hey, I'm happy to make the profit on it. Okay, this next pair of boots is from the brand Kombu, and they are a black like duck boot, like winter boot, and they are a size 7. And these I saw, and they looked like in impeccable condition. They had absolutely no flaws. They didn't even look like they were worn. And I probably could have listed them higher, but because I didn't know anything about the brand, I kind of just listed them like, I think around like 60 or so. And then someone sent me an offer for 51, and I immediately accepted. I was happy to make a profit on an item that I really had no idea about. And just given the fact that I was able to make so much extra money on this pair of boots, it was totally worth it. I think this pair of boots just paid for the entire time that I went to the thrift store that time, just in one sale alone. So that's always really exciting when that happens. Okay, that is actually all the items that I'm going to talk about in this video. If you like this style of video, let me know and I'll make another one in the future. I think these are really great because it really just highlights that you don't have to pick up those brands that everyone swears by. Like, so many people are like, oh, I only pick up certain brands because they sell, and I swear by certain brands. But this video has really low-end brands and really high-end brands, but also kind of just brands in the middle. And it doesn't have to be the most expensive brand out there to sell and make a profit on. So I hope this video helped you understand that you don't have to be picking up those expensive brands if you can't find them in your thrift stores. If you have Dollar Day at your Goodwill, definitely go and check it out, and you never know what you're going to be able to find, and you never know what you're going to be able to flip for a profit. If you want to see another video on features that you should be using on Poshmark, you can click right here. And if you want to see another video on tips how to get consistent sales on Poshmark, you can click right here. But until next time, I will see you then.